Why, hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. Tell me, is the lighting okay on this one? It seems like it's been awful since I started filming in this locale. But anyway, it always looks okay to me. And then I go back and rewatch it. I'm like, why is it so dim? Well, maybe I'm getting night blindness. Anyway, hopefully I took care of that at this venue. Maybe if I just sort of. Georgia Air is in the house. How you doing, Georgia? You're always on my mind. Um, all right, I'll come to you with my questions. How's the sound and visual? Am I getting enough light? Can you see my boyish, charming face? Zublik says, "We're live, live, live. It's alive, alive." Cindy D says, "Hello, everyone, and Thrash." And on behalf of myself and everyone, Cindy, I say hello to you. Georgia says, "I am good." So if she can hear and see me okay, I'm guessing the rest of you can as well. Jimmy Neutron is free and with us says, "Hello, hello, 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 hello. Hello to you as well, by the way." Zublik says, "Sound and visuals are A-okay. Not just okay. A-okay. Okay. All right. Super, super. Now, as I'm sure many of you folks saw, I'm going to do something a little different tonight, by the way. Lance Chafin suggested, and now, of course, as you guys know, we do different bits and pieces in these live chats. We can't spend an entire 90 minutes on one topic. My ADHD kicks in way before that. But he wanted to talk about one hit wonders, speaking of limited concentration. And while we were doing that, I actually came up with a special trivia game tonight. It's about specific songs from the 70s and 80s, mostly 80s, that if you were paying attention, you might know from the question. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But yes, I do have a trivia game for you tonight. And Cindy D says, "What does the bottom of your shirt say?" I can't read it. Oh, I know, because it says, the top, of course, says "this just in," and the bottom it says, "You're an idiot." um, it tends to bunch up on me, partly because I have a beer belly, which I try to keep off camera. But you asked, I answered. A lot of people having fellowship. Danny Staten is here, says, "Greetings, Pawns, and greetings to you in South Carolina." Cindy D says, "Music trivia. Yes." My thoughts exactly. Tom says, "What's happening?" No, not TV trivia, music trivia. Gonna be a show. What's happening? Da 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 da. Da. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Tom, we just got started, and we're just basically having fellowship and saying hello, hello. How are you? Emily Miller, she says, "Hey y'all." Hey Emily, great to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. Zublik says, "Okay, the party just started." And okay, so far we have 8 people and only one like. We can do better than that now, can't we? Keith E says, "Oh, trivia. I can hardly wait." We'll see how I do. This one is going to be on songs from the 70s and 80s, mostly 80s. You'll see when we get to it. I don't want to give the game away. Jimmy Neutron says, "I remember that weird song, Fish Heads." I almost touched upon that one. In fact, remember not too long ago, we were talking about how Dr. Demento sort of reinvigorated his career in like the mid 80s. MTV brought him on board, and he was doing not just weird novelty songs, but weird novelty videos. He did a top 10 list of the weirdest videos in the galaxy. And the number one was Fish Heads by Barnes and Barnes. One of those Barnes, of course, being Bill Mumy of Lost in Space fame. And in the video, the lady who does some of the freeform segments is Sissy Spacek. I believe her husband produced the video. Her husband, for you real film buffs out there, might remember he was the man on the moon in the film Eraserhead. He's the man who runs that thing that looks like a rail station. Yes, I do my homework, don't I, people? But yes, you know what? Next time I think I'll have a little trivia about the song Fish Heads. Although I think I may have given all the facts away already. We'll see what I can do. Tom says loves 70s music, rock, pop, R&B, and country. That pretty much covers it. Lance Chafin is here. Poor guy. Are you feeling okay, Lance? Lance said he wasn't feeling well. He may only make a small appearance tonight, but it means a lot that you decided to pop in. And again, I hope you feel better, buddy. Zuplik says, T-Pones, did you ever try malt liquor? Of course I've tried malt liquor. I prefer just good old-fashioned beer, but no, I have tried malt liquor, and it's good. Heffenreffer, and there was one of the kind. It's been a while, but yes. Tom says Bill Mumy co-wrote Fish Heads. Yeah, it was written by Barnes and Barnes, and he was one of the Barneses. Cindy D says soft rock and disco was my favorites of the 70s, Tom. A lot of people having fellowship. Emily Miller says Eraserhead was different. I remember I saw that in Boston. I want to say in Harvard Square when I was on a winter break from college. I was with my roommate and one of his friends from home, and we had a little, and then went and saw Eraserhead, and it was like, good times, good times. It's not a bad movie, just don't ask me to explain it to you. Best I can do, it's about the trials and tribulations of a young man after some type of apocalypse. The story was that I was told, um, oh, um, all I can think of is Tim Burton, not Tim Burton, the guy who made Eraserhead. You know what I'm talking about. Drawing a blank here. He wrote that movie when his wife was having their first child, and it was about his anxiety over becoming a father. He was afraid things would go awry, and he was having these stress nightmares, and wrote them down, and it became Eraserhead. Crazy. Zublik says, you know the real Eraserhead, that guy from Kid and Play. I know, right? He did have that haircut, didn't he? Emily Miller says, beer is dear, wine is fine, but liquor is quicker. Now remember, liquor before beer and head will stay clear. Beer before liquor, never been sicker. Gary Carpenter says, I'm here. He's back. Good to see you. Lance Chafin says, Emily, that was from Willy Wonka. It was Willy Wonka, wasn't it? So Blick says, Country Club or Colt 45? No, I have had Colt 45, but Heffenreffer, and there was another one in the New England area that I used to drink because we're going way, way, way back. David Lynch. Thank you, Zoop. I can't believe I couldn't think of David Lynch. Here's one for you. Years ago, when I was going to college up in the North Adams area, there was a man who had actually gone to college with David Lynch and actually knew him from college. Told me a couple of stories, which, shall we say, privilege I can't share. But apparently, he was a very interesting person in college, as well as in his filmmaking career. Emily Miller says, Lance, my dad used to say it all the time, didn't know where he got it. Of course, the statement predates the movie, of course. Tom says, see, Charlotte Stewart from Eraserhead all the time, lives down the street from me. No kidding. That movie's got to be 40 years old now. Probably more like 42, 43. Crazy. Jimmy Neutron said, Eraserhead is one of those movies you like it or hate it. There's no middle ground. I know, right? I know. Either you get it or you don't get it. Either you go, wow, or you go, wow. Much like 2001, A Space Odyssey. A lot of sci-fi buffs don't like 2001, A Space Odyssey. I'm going to go see it on the big screen, though. Can't wait. Gary Carpenter says, Tom, what's new with you? I don't know what's new with you, you know? Lance Chafin says, don't forget to hit the like button. And Limo says, I watched it for the first time in 93. 15 years later, I made my daughter watch it. She still hasn't forgiven me. I had a friend of mine in high school who was like emotionally scarred by that, literally emotionally scarred from that movie. But he was something of a snowflake, to use the nomenclature of the present day. Tom said, just got off from work, ate a pizza, and drinking a beer. I've had my dinner, but I'm not having a beer tonight. I have to take my granddaughter to school in the morning, and let's just say never while on duty. Got a few chillin' for down the road. Tracy Rose Myers is with us, and she says, "Hi, all. I'm sick, but I thought I would stop by and say hi." Tracy, I'm so glad you did. I'm so sad. I'm so sad you're not feeling well. Please take care of yourself. Hope it is nothing serious, but I'm very glad you decided to stop by. Might do the music trivia early then, while you're still here, if you want it. Jimmy Neutron says, "Who doesn't like Hal? Open the pod bay door, Hal." I can't do that, Dave. But of course, even Dave forgave Hal in the days ahead. Lance Chafin says, "Hey, Tracy, get better, definitely." Wajamin is here and with us. He says, "Hello, Tracy. I hope you get better soon." And that sentiment is shared by all of us. Wajamin, so glad you're here. And I'd tell everybody to subscribe to you, but I'm sure all of us already have. But I love the stuff you're putting out. I really do. Tom says King Cobra malt liquor. I don't think I've tried King Cobra malt liquor, but sounds good. Gary Cameron says Georgia was up my peach, but I'm bumped. Thanks all said by Wajmin. Gary Cameron says, "Tom, that's what Cobra Commander drinks." Love it, love it. Tom says, "Yeah, trivia." Tracy says, "I love Hal. Thanks, guys." Emily says, "I remember Colt 45 never had it, but I remember it." Let's see. Jibril said, "Ever sample Old English? The furniture polish? Not my cup of tea." Denny Staten says, "Oh, he's given Wajamin a link just in case." You know what? You can't have too many links. So, yes, to Wajamin's future fans, there he is. Lance Chafin said, "Anyone like Zima?" I tried it. I thought it tasted like cough syrup. Good cough syrup, but I thought it tasted like cough syrup. So yeah, I never really got into Zima, which is funny because I kind of like my wine coolers. I've always been a beer man since before I could drink legally. I was a beer man. I've always been a beer man. Big surprise there. I did like the wine coolers back in the '80s, and occasionally do a hard lemonade or hard iced tea, but never got the taste for Zima. Don't know why. Tracy says built in '97. Hal Urbana Isle. Not entirely sure I got the gist of that, but I'm sure it was a very strong sentiment. Cindy D says, "My husband loved his 40-ounce Colt 45s. I don't drink, never did." Well, commendable. I generally have. And Lynn says, "Zima wasn't bad with cranberry juice. Never thought to try that." Bobby Renee is in the house. Says hello to Zuper. John Bernstein, who is not 3 hours late. He was afraid to be 3 hours late. Not 3 hours late, says, "I'm fashionably late. Like 7 minutes. We can forgive you. We have actually only just started, but I'm so glad you're here, John." Denny says, "Colt 45 and 2 zigzags, buddy. That's all you need." Les James at Bartles and James. Yes, and thank you for your support. Gary Kemper says, "Has anyone that tried Red Bull sugar free? Really good." I haven't actually. Ziplik says, "Country Club is cheap way of getting drunk." I can see that. Jimmy Neutron said Zima is still selling in Japan. I knew that. I knew that actually. You can actually get it online, believe it or not. Tom says Billy D. Williams used to Schlitz malt liquor. That was the one I tried. Schlitz malt liquor commercials back in the day. Yeah, there was a buddy of mine. His father drank it, and every now and then we liberate a bottle. I think that's where I got it somehow. But anyway, I have tried Schlitz. Gary says love Bartles and James. Lynn Stevens says, "Oh no, they stopped in 2021. I heard you can still get it." Well, maybe it's old cases that are still laying around. Ew, nothing worse than old alcohol. Teresa Rothmeyer says that's where Hal from 2001 was built. I thought that's where you were going. But I wasn't 100%. John Bernstein. Emily Miller says, "Danny, we can go to the park after dark and smoke that tumbleweed." Zublik says, "Did you ever see Rufus Thomas sell Schlitz malt liquor?" I haven't. I don't recall that. ad campaign. But we're up to 16 people and 8 likes. That's a better improvement. I'm going to give it a few minutes before. Again, we usually get to about 20 people, and then I'll think about starting the trivia. But remember, the premise so far tonight is one-hit wonders from our generation. Uh, I'd say 70s and 80s. You want to go late 60s or even early 90s, go for it. But 70s and 80s one-hit wonders are really the ones that I sunk my teeth into. Danny Staten says, Emily, we can go anywhere you want. Emily Miller says, Thresh, it's a song by Afroman. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Tom says Rufus Thomas did the funky chicken. I did not know that. I can't type. John Burton says I can't type. Me neither. I tried Pabst Blue Ribbon beer once. I remember once, me and some friends of mine, we pooled our money to get like a case of beer, and all we could get, and I even had to like haggle with the guy at the desk because he's a friend of mine. We got a case of Pabst Blue Ribbon, and sorry, but of course, every time I think Pabst Blue Ribbon, all I can think of is, speaking of David Lynch, all I can think of is Blue Velvet, because that's the beer that, not Frank. Frank is the sort of drug distributor. Danny is the gangster, played by Dennis Hopper. Danny drinks Pabst Blue Ribbon. I haven't seen Blue Velvet in years, so if I'm wrong on any of those points, please let me know. Jimmy Neutron says he used to make liquor out of furniture polish during Prohibition. Yeah, and shoe polish as well. You heat it. Yeah, then you have to strain it through like bread or something, and what's left over is a ethyl alcohol, which will probably make you go blind. I wouldn't try it. Daryl Jones says, Bob, Daryl, my other brother Daryl, you're better off putting grape juice in a closet, letting it ferment. Of course, again, you might get sick. Oh, Emily Miller says, same dude who's saying because I got high. Let's just see. Lance Javen says rum and coke. I never really acquired a taste for rum. Tracy says Pabst was terrible. John says I drink 21st Amendment brew, free or die. Big Guys 45 says I'm here. Great to see you, Big Guys. Thank you. Emily Miller says Gary PBR was my dad's beer of choice. Let's just see. Zuplik says Pabst Blue Ribbon was Dennis Hopper's favorite beer in real life. Is that why they used it in the movie? Wouldn't be surprised. Tracy says, hey, Robert, what is the most common drink that you serve at the restaurant? We're an Italian restaurant, so it's usually wine. Specifically, I swear by our House Chianti, the Gabbiano Classical from the north of Italy. Believe it or not, though, people tend to go more with whites. The Kendall Jackson Chardonnay or the Ecco Domini Pinot Grigio. As far as cocktails go, I'd say probably Tito's, and people love their vodka, so it's like Tito's and soda, Tito's and cran. I'm a gin man. If I do drink spirits, it's got to be the gin, Tanqueray or Bombay Sapphire preferred. And let's see, beer. We've been getting a lot of mileage out of our microbrews. People seem to love IPAs these days. We have one called the Sierra Nevada. But the big one is it's the Wandering Haze from Nantucket. It sounds like a Stephen King short story, but I myself prefer the Cape Cod Red or the Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Big Guys 45 says, I'm on my way to 1,000 like you all know, yet the goddamn unsub glitch may get in the way yet again. Sigh. It just never ends for me, sad. Well, same page, club. Cindy D says, my dad loved Coors. Coors Silver Bullets. Oh, call me Werewolf Hunter because I love silver bullets. It was either that or the Lone Ranger. John Dos has had to switch. You've been there, done that. Try running the show and having to switch. It's embarrassing. Gary Carpenter says, hey, at least it's not milk and Pepsi. Actually, it's not too bad. What you do is you take vanilla ice cream. You make, instead of a root beer float, you make a Pepsi float, right? When the ice cream melts, it makes a really creamy Pepsi. It's actually not bad. Milk and Pepsi is not quite as good, but if you're a diabetic and stemming from sugar, it's almost as good. And that's the best I can do on such short notice. Tom says we have a local bar, 500 beers from around the world. Damn, 500? God, you get alcohol poisoning just playing around the world. John Burton says it's a 7% West Coast IPA. Danny Skaten says, I drink vodka from the Ukraine, UA. The Ukrainian vodka. Horror show. Superlex says, no, in the movie. Okay, that's what I thought you meant. Then why don't you use his name, Danny, instead of Dennis Hopper? You confuse people, when you confuse the character and the actor. Skip Scott is with us. Scott, how you doing tonight? What up, y'all? Just wanted to say hi, doing spelling homework with my youngest, and we'll be back as soon as we are done. Will I give you an A for dropping by? Good luck with the spelling homework, and we'll be here when you are through. And I just jumped. Here we are. Ziplik says, do you ever try stout? I have, not a big fan. Gary Carter says, definitely drink vodka and wine, hopefully not together. And then says, I like Moscato. The LSD or a Riesling. Well, everything happens for a Riesling. Gin Ricky with Hendrix. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's just see. Yeah, Super says you have to bribe to get 1,000. Yeah, I wish I knew. Tom says we used to drink Narragansett beer from Massachusetts. I still have Narragansett every now and then. They had a big Narragansett special a couple years ago, so I bought some out of nostalgia. It's not bad. It's not bad. Of course, I still drink Genesee ale. Any New Englanders remember Genesee ale? Genesee is believing. Try the cream ale. It's pretty darn good. Cape Cod Brew is pretty good too, by the way. I love the Cape Cod Red. A lot of people like the blonde. I like the red. Emily Miller says, Tracy, your fave wines too. John Collins. Oh, John Collins is here with us. Well, as 70s one-hit wonders, my Sharona. 80 one-hit wonders include Walking on Sunshine and Tainted Love and Electric Avenue. All great choices. The funny thing about Tainted Love, I actually mentioned that in when I was doing my research. The funny thing about Tainted Love is a lot of people didn't remember it was a remake. Tainted Love, there was an original version from, I want to say, the early 70s, and nobody remembered it was a remake. Des Kim says, Emily, I can't spell to save my life, but I have a great vocabulary. Same page club. Thank God for spell check. Spelling was the bane of my existence. Of course, I can gab all day long, but spelling, that's why I said, for a written transcript of tonight's broadcast, get a pen and paper. I can't do everything for you. Tom said they have a great malt liquor from the Congo. Ooh, I would be willing to try that. John Burnson says, Joan, I think you're forgotten. Good girl, don't. John, I think you forget. It was not John. It says Joan, but it meant John. I think you're forgetting Good Girls Don't also by the Knack. But was that a top 40? I don't know if that ever cracked the top 40. I do remember that song. And let's just see here. Oh, Emily just jumped off the page. Doss, I made it to the city, and my youngest daughter made it to regionals. Oh, very good. Denny Skaten said milk, vodka, and Kahlua, the Danny drink. The White Russian. Bobby Renee says, "Do the Dinosaur" was a good song. I do remember that one. They used it as an advertisement for the show Dinosaurs. Cindy D says, "I don't want to try milk and Pepsi either, Gary." Like I said, use the vanilla ice cream instead. It's better. Emma Miller says it's way better with a half and half. Yes, it would be, shouldn't it? Lance Javen says, Gary, I'm having one of those now. Zublik says the village people loved milkshake, but not the McDonald's variety. Duskim says that's awesome. To Miss Emily, my envy knows no bounds. Emily says, Tracy, that was almost 15 years ago. Crazy. Bobby Renee says, Daryl, if we keep hitting the like button, it goes off and on. I think hit it if you haven't. Oh, Mike and Kathy are here. Saw the Knack in concert in Seattle way back when. Mike and Kathy, so great to have you with us. Tracy Myers says, my fave was Stone Roses. I want to be adored. Tom says, the only good thing Jimmy Carter did, deregulated alcohol. That's why we have so many microbreweries. Oh, cool. Zublik says, autocorrect is a great way of getting your comments on time. Daryl Johnson's Tender Love is a song composed by Ed Cobb, formerly of American group The Four Preps, which originally recorded by Gloria Jones in 1964. Very good. Thank you for that update. John Burton says, reach number 11 on the Billboard Hot Charts 100 chart. That's Good Girls Don't, but I do. Terrell Eugene Bellinger is in the house. Hey, Thrash, happy almost Black History Month. And thank you. Yeah, I know we got, what, a couple of hours? Well, my time at least. I'm going to skip down really quickly because I think maybe, we have almost enough people to do the trivia. Dennis Eaton says some people don't call it a White Russian. Down south, we say Smith and Wesson. Okay, love it. John Collins says, I know that you are. I have a question about the psychology of the nature of bartending. Is it hard to carry on a group conversation when there is such a diversity of people in the bar area? No, it's like up and down the river. You actually develop a way you can actually carry on 2 or 3 conversations at once. You just sort of like kind of half listen, kind of yeah, I get it, yeah. I hope he is pitching tonight. Yeah, that'd be great if he won the election. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Germans did lose that battle, and you just sort of develop a knack to it. Usually, what happens though, as you go, one person will basically start to dominate all the conversations. Other people in the bar start listening to them, whoever the most interesting or loudest person at the bar is, and then you kind of let them take over. But believe it or not, a bartender can actually carry on a couple conversations at once, provided no one's being an idiot. Cindy D says one hit wonders were I know there's something going on. Produced by Phil Collins, Too Shy, and Der Kommissar. There's something going on by Freda. I love that song. I'm not gonna. Well, you know what? I think we should start the trivia. So I'm just gonna make sure. Let's see. A lot of people bashing on Jimmy Carter, so I'm gonna just get past that. And but anyway, yes, I think I should start because some people are starting to mention things that I might actually want to talk about in my contest. So what this contest does is I'm going to ask you about a particular song. I'm going to give you a clue, and you tell me which song fits this bill. For example, I'll give you my first question, and it is, what Paul McCartney song is about a dog? And yes, this is Wings, not the Beatles. What Paul McCartney song was about a dog that he owned? And those of you who know the answer, feel free to give it in the comments section. I'll give you guys a couple of moments, and I don't need to. Someone's already got it. Lance Javen says Lunatic Fringe by Red Rider. I don't know if that was your guess or your favorite one-hit wonder from the 80s, but either way, I love it. Teddy State says, Hey Jude. A lot of people say old John Doe said never liked Paul McCartney. But anyway, a couple of you have got it. So yes, Jet was his dog. Supposedly, Jet was spawned by a dog whose name was Sergeant Major. That's why he gives us a "Was your mother as tough as a Sergeant Major?" So yes, Jet is the answer to that one. So okay, so I'm 1 for 1. Okay, this is a fun one. What Don Henley song satirized the Reagan administration? Yes. What Don Henley song was critical of President Reagan? And I'll give us a minute here. You can almost guess it, to be honest with you. Oh, Dirty Laundry is a good one. I'll give you partial credit because that's about all the shenanigans that went on in Central America, and God knows that was dumped in Reagan's lap. So yes, but Steve from the Life and Set ending is here. I will say hello to Steve, and Steve gets it. Yes, the end of the innocence. That's the tired old man that he's referring to. I would have also accepted all of them. Don Henley was particularly critical of President Reagan back in the day. Boys of Summer, I like that one. You know what? Half credit for that. Oh, and Tug the Apologetic Geek is in the house and with us. And yes, Steve, I know you said age of innocence. I knew you meant end of the innocence. So I'm still giving you full credit. So that's question number 2. Moving on to question number 3. What one hit wonder 80s song was about Eastern Bloc secret police? Yes, what famous 1980s one hit wonder song was about a secret police force in the Eastern Bloc? Some of you will get it because you know that's why I just started changing the conversation because some of you are already talking about it. 99 Luftballons, I'll give you half credit because that is about World War III with the Eastern Bloc and it takes place in Germany. So half credit for Bobby Renee. But yes, Cindy D says Toy Soldiers. Oh no, that's about a friend who, a girl who lost all her friends to drug addiction. Very, very sad. But no, not about the Eastern Bloc secret police. But a lot of you are getting it. Der Kommissar. And of course, I would have accepted either After the Fire, in the English, or Falco's German version. But yes, to any of you who said 99 Luftballons, I'll give partial credit, half credit. But that's number 3. Superplex 0 for 3. Superplex, come on, get your head in the game. Oh, some people are 1 for 3. Some people are just saying hi to each other. John Burns says 99 Luftballons is about the Berlin Wall. No, what happens is this girl and her friend are bored one day and they get 100 balloons and decide they're going to release them over the Berlin Wall as a way of saying hi to their neighbors on the other side of the wall. So you're partially right. But what happens is that shows up as a blip on the radar on both sides. Both sides panic, send their jet fighters to attack each other, and World War III ensues. And then she's standing around in the city, the dust, which was the city, with the last balloon, the 100th balloon, and she just lets it go as a way of saying goodbye, world. It's a very sad song. You know, I should do a creepy classic on that. Of course, I don't need to now, do I? But anyway, enough of my pontification, my pontification, and I shall now move on to question number 4. And if I lose count, bear with me. Okay, which They Might Be Giants hit is a song about a nightlight? Yes, what iconic, probably their biggest hit song by They Might Be Giants is about a nightlight? Oh, while I'm waiting for you guys to put in your answers, Cindy D says 1999 is about the Reagan administration and nuclear war. I'll believe that. I believe that, yes. Len Stevens says, Use Your Love by the Outfield. Great one hit wonder, but not the one I'm looking for. Give you guys another second for the They Might Be Giant song. Nobody got it? I'll give a. Tug says experimental film. No, it wasn't an experimental film. Although their videos are like experimental films, aren't they? John Bernstein says, I love the fact that most of these songs are 20 years past my time. I did say mostly 70s and 80s, mostly 80s, actually. Oh, Scott says Istanbul, not Constantinople. Good guess, but wrong. Steve says 80s. Ugh. Um, Tug says Particle Man. I think you guys may not get this one, so I'm just going to go and say the They Might Be Giants song, which is about a nightlight, is Birdhouse in Your Soul. Story goes that when he was a kid, in the hallway to his bedroom, there was a blue bird nightlight. So that even when he couldn't see the hall light, this blue light was leading him to his bedroom. And well, that's the whole story. Okay, so skip that one. I should give a bonus question just for the questions that nobody knows the answer to. Oh, Tug says, damn it, that would have been my next guess. Well, I'll give you half credit because you almost got it. Gary Carpenter says, life, what's wrong with the 80s? Okay, next song. Oh, some of you got to get this one. Which U2 song is about Billie Holiday? Yes. What song by U2 is about legendary American musician Billie Holiday? I'm going to give you a minute on this one. Da, 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 da. Cindy, I'm saying yes. And I'm not a bit surprised that you were the first person who got it. Yes, Angel of Harlem is the U2 song about Billie Holiday, and a wonderful song it is. Anyone else get it? Yeah, other people got it as well. Super, super. Okay, next question. Which Billy Joel song lamented the plight of New England fishermen? Yes. What song by Billy Joel was a lamentation of the plight of New England fishermen? I'll give you a hint. If you know one of his daughter's names, you'll get it. Corey's Comedy Channel is in the house. Thrash, the master of live stream, is live. You're the man. Hello, everyone. Corey, I'm so glad you're here. And Dan, do the honors. Please give us a link to Corey's Comedy Channel. He's got this great new gimmick. It's sort of a comedy, psychological spy thriller going on. You got to get into it. You have to check it out. You'll love it. Ooh, we love it. Allentown. That's about Pennsylvania. That's about the mill workers. Piano Man. No, that's about himself. Tug got it. Down Easter Alexa. Yes. He actually talks about the Northeast in it, Montauk and Block Island and all that. But yes, it's about New England fishermen and how they couldn't make a living as fishermen anymore. So yes, moving forward. Next one. Okay. This is a toughie too, but I think a couple of you might get it. Which Iggy Pop song is about rehab? Yes, what song by Iggy Pop is about experiences in rehab? Oh, Bob Renee says, no wonder we're poor because Billy Joel writes songs about us. Corey's Comedy Channel says, you're too kind, Thrash. Love you, buddy. The feeling is more than mutual. Oh, did someone get it? I don't see the answer. Lust for Life. Teb, good guess, but wrong. I'll give you people a couple more chances to guess it. Lust for Life was my microphone just betrayed me. Lust for Life is by Iggy Pop, but it wasn't about his experiences in rehab. People don't know? Okay, I'll tell you. Hideaway off blah blah blah. That town in northwest Mexico he talks about. That's the rehab that he's speaking of. Okay. Here's one for the sci-fi buffs in the audience. What song by the Buggles is based on a J.G. Ballard short story? Yes, what iconic song by the Buggles is based on a science fiction short story by J.G. Ballard? Cherry Bomb? No, sorry. Ooh, Cindy D out the gate. Video killed the radio star. Very good. First song played on MTV. That was the first video. But yes, a lot of people seem to be getting it good. Rich Atwood, thank you for joining us. Good night, Rich Atwood. Excellent. He got it. Um, some other people got. Oh, Teb got that one. Excellent. Okay, good. So excellent, excellent. There were more sci-fi fans on my channel than I thought, which is funny because I started out as a sci-fi channel. And last but certainly not least, what famous 1985 one-hit wonder raised awareness of the Vietnam War? Yes, what famous one-hit wonder song of 1985 raised awareness of Vietnam? Oh, John H is in the house. Hi, everyone. I saw Thrash joined as soon as I finished watching an ET tribute video to Cindy Williams. This R.I.P. Miss Williams. And John H, thank you so much for joining us. Big Guys 45 says the person who directed the first ever music video to air on MTV2, Where It's At by Beck, actually follows me on YouTube. That's crazy. That is a feather in the cap. And Cindy again with 19. Vietnam, Saigon, Vietnam, Saigon. Yes, that was Peter Thomas who did the narration of that. And yes, 19. Bobby Renee says 17. That's a B. I'll give you 17 out of 19. Steve says born in the USA. I'll give you half credit because he does mention Vietnam in that song. But yeah, Big Guy 45 says 19. Tom, get that. A lot of people are saying born in the USA. And yes, he does refer to the Vietnam War. So that is a half credit. But as Zuplex pointed out, Springsteen did not give us a one-hit wonder now, did he? But I will give half credit because it does cover all the other bases. Let's just see. Liz Javen says Eddie Murphy party all the time. That's a one-hit wonder. Anyway, that's all I have for trivia. How many did we get? Gary Carpenter says he got 4 of 6, which means he missed some, but I'll still give it to you. Liz Javen says 19 by Paul Hardcastle. Yes, an English DJ who did that song, I believe. John H says, I thought you said 1965, so I thought the one-hit wonder was Barry McGuire's Eve of Destruction. Oh, well, you know what? I'll give you half credit. But yeah, I'm sorry, 1985. Well, Eve of Destruction was in 65? I thought that song came later, but I will yield to your reference. Zublik says, fail, fail, fail for a lot of us. I never said my trivia questions were going to be easy. Bobby says, well, I'm not a jerk, so I wouldn't know. Okay. Mike Kelly said 0 of whatever. I'm sorry. I'll try to make some more mainstream questions. I had an old boss. I used to do trivias for my old job years ago, and he says, if people can't get them, it's not trivia. It's just you're asking really hard questions. Trivia is something that the mainstream should get. So just because you know it doesn't mean it's trivia. Tug says, I didn't do as well as last time, but at least Zuper can't accuse me of cheating. John H says, Eddie Murphy did another top 40 song. Put your mouth on me. Okay, I don't recall that one. I'll take your word for it. Les Javen says, West End Girls, Pet Shop Boys. John Burton says, Love Grows Where My Rosemary Goes is one hit wonders by Edison Lighthouse. I love that song. Bob Renee says half of 9. That's 4.5. Zublik says, when did I ever get accused of anyone cheating? I don't think you ever really accused anybody of cheating. John H says you can see Barry McGuire perform that song on Hullabaloo on YouTube. Either you have a lot of Hullabaloo on YouTube. Keith says, I got the 99 Luft balloons, so half point. You got it. 99 Luft balloons, yes. Tug says, my favorite Pet Shop Boys song is You Only Tell Me You Love Me When You're Drunk. Not familiar with that one. Steve says they were hard questions, make me feel stupid. but I ain't no Steve. You are not stupid. You are very intelligent. I ask obscure questions. Um, I like to think mine are challenging. Lynn Javen says, "Pass the Dutchie, musical youth." Yep. Um, Triple says, "Harvard University level questions, a trivia quiz." Yeah. Well, just obscure. Daryl Jones says, "I'm Gumby, damn it! Now hit the like button." Ken Wilkinson is in the house. You should do Doctor Who trivia. I did that, didn't I? I only came up with about 5 of them, but I thought I did Doctor Who trivia. Teb says, "No Rain" by Blind Melon is one of the 90s one-hit wonder songs. It saddens me that lead singer Shannon Hoon died tragically a couple years later. Yes, that was sad. Les Javin says, "Just got paid by Johnny Kemp." Jimmy Neutron says, "Typo Negative did a great song called Black Number One." John Edison, I'm sorry, Johnny says Edison Lighthouse had another one-hit wonder as White Knight, Baby Love, My Baby Loves Lovin'. Corey says, "Hit the like button, guys. Thrash is awesome." Lance Chafin says, "Cameo, word up," which was later done by Korn. Uh, Doug says, "I don't think it was an unfair quiz. Don't change Thrash. Thank you." Sean Innes is with us. Sean, how you doing? Lance Chafin, word up every say, LOL. It's the code word. No matter where you say it, you know that you'll be heard. I actually, how many people here like Korn's version better? How many people think it's a toss up? I like both of them actually. So he says Twilight Zone by Golden Earring. But Golden Earring had another hit. Remember, Golden Earring also did Radar Love, which is one of my favorite songs from the 1970s. In fact, the urge to sing it right now is overwhelming. Been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. No, I'll get in trouble. Let's see. Tom said that he liked Cameo. Les James says, "Cindy D, when the bullet hits the bone." John Burton says, "Sugar Sugar" was a one-hit wonder by the Archies. It was supposed to be done by the Monkees, but they broke up before the studio could make him do it. Steve says, "Question: What was Debbie Harry's brother's dog's name?" Meatloaf. Sean Innes says, "I'm so tired, I get no credit." You get half credit here. How's that? You know what? I'll give you 3/4 credit. Dennis Gaten says, "LOL." Gary Carpenter says, "Do trivia on Oz." Ooh. Ooh, not The Wizard of Oz. You mean the HBO show? Ooh, I'd love to do trivia on Oz. I'd have to rewatch it, but I think I could manage. Gary Carpenter says, "Oh, he's just waving." Tug says, "I don't know, he just jumped off the page. Help, I'm slipping into the Twilight Zone. Place is a madhouse." It's a madhouse! A madhouse! You blow it all up, you maniacs! I'm sorry, I'm doing a Heston thing. Bobby says, "Host likes Ice Ice Baby." Mike Getty says, "Radar Love" is great. I love that song. Every time I hear it, I become esoteric. Let's just see. Corey says, "I agree. Radar Love is a fantastic song." Jimmy Neutron says, "Life is a Highway" is one of the best driving songs. It really is. It really is. Les Javen says, "Glamorous Life" by Sheila E. Had such a crush on her. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, "Did you know that Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You, was written by one and only Prince Rogers Nelson?" Yes, that is his full name. I knew that was his full name, and I knew that he wrote it. He actually wrote a lot of songs for a lot of female rockers, many of whom he was dating at one point or another, but some were just friends of his. But yes, he wrote a lot of songs. He also wrote Manic Monday. Um, he also he didn't he write Glamorous Life for Sheila E. He wrote something for Sheila E. I don't know if it was Glamorous Life. Cindy D says, "That's why I had a question mark. Thrash. I was sure it was a one-hit wonder." I wasn't sure. It was a one-hit wonder. Oh, okay, that explains that. I must have missed a question mark. Tom says I'd play Sugar Sugar at work and the girls would start dancing. Love it. Gary Carpenter says I love ABBA. One night at Waterloo, Napoleon did surrender. That's right. John Bernstein says my karaoke song is Since I Fell for You by Lenny Welch. Mine is Burnin' Love by Elvis Presley, and I won't do it now. I'm not nearly drunk enough. John H says, I'd love a trivia game about the Wizard of Oz. I could do both. Cindy D says, message retracted, and a message retracted to you as well. Zublik says, pass the duchy. Let's just see. Shannon says, I've been saving for the fight time to. I'm assuming that's the right time to binge Oz. Great cast. It really was. Lisa Fields. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for joining us, Lisa. Says, hi, Thrash Pondo. Hey, everyone. I made it. So glad you did. So glad you're with us. Gary Governor says, yeah, Wizard of Oz. Steve says, Spirit in the Sky. Norman Greenbaum, I want to say. Isn't that one making fun of Dolly Parton? I heard somewhere that he was watching one of those. Well, anyway. If I'm right, great. If I'm not, please correct me. Oh, Watch Bean says, my electric went out. Oh, no. We got to rock down to Electric Avenue. Zublik says another one-hit wonder was Venus, which again is a remake. Steve says sad ending. That's on my playlist too. Let's just see. Tug says lean on me. Daryl Johnson says hit the frickin' like button. John Burns says shocking blue. Johnny says Prince wrote Sugar Walls for Sheila E. Thank you. I knew he wrote something for Sheila E. For the life of me, I couldn't remember which one it was. I just jumped again. Oh yeah, here we are. Gary Carpenter says we are the world. Tug says he wrote Manic Monday for Prince, but Prince didn't want to do it. Oh, okay, that's why they did it. Susan Hoff and her accompanying band. Cindy says he did a duet with Sheila called Love Bazaar. Yeah, I remember that song. Yeah. Lance Chavin says Pump Up the Volume by Mars. Tom says I met my wife listening to ABBA. Lisa Field says Bobby E. I have many secrets. Oh, Johnny says anytime you appears in a song title meaning you, it's probably a Prince song. I'll buy that. Teb says Madonna Louise Cindrone. Yes, that's her full name. Doesn't she have two middle names? But Madonna Louise Ciccone. I always say Cindrone. Ciccone ended her 80s reign with Like a Prayer and Express Yourself. Started the 90s with Vogue. Steve says I never watched Oz. Tug says unless it's Sinead O'Connor. Just jumped again. Hang on. I've almost got back to where I think I left off. Here we are. John Burton says, I also sing Stone in Love with You by the Stylistics. Love the Stylistics. Danny's Gaten says, my phone service is out and my internet signal is in and out. Storms here. Eek. Yeah, there's a nasty one coming to Cape Cod too, by the way. Tom said we passed the Dutchie on the tour bus back in the day. Lance Gavin says Ice Ice Baby Vanilla Ice. Jimmy Neutron says an obscure sci-fi movies you recommend, Thrash. Any obscure sci-fi movies I recommend. Huh. You know what? Well, since we were just talking about Farrah Fawcett not too long ago, check out Saturn 3 with Harvey Keitel and Kirk Douglas. It's a bizarre sci-fi cyberpunk film. I'd use that one as my obscure sci-fi of the week. George Ayer says, I love Abba's Fernando. Tug says, Stuck in the Middle with You by Steelers Wheel was making fun of Dylan, and everybody thinks it's a Dylan song. The irony must hurt. Well, all along the watchtower. Johnny says Venus was a one-hit wonder for Stocking Blue in 1970, then remade as another one-hit wonder for Bananarama. Yeah, it's funny how they recycle these one-hit wonders. So Didi says, knowing you, knowing me. George Ayers, knowing you, knowing me. Steve says, hey, Thrash, thanks for looking at my shorts. I love your shorts, by the way. They're very short. Well, make it brief. Sorry. But no, yeah, you have some great shorts out there. By the way, now you got me doing it. He means content. John Collins says, Bob, a question for a geographic nature. Is the campus of Harvard University beautiful? Have you been in person? Have you been to Fenway Park? I haven't been to either. Would you be willing to be my tour guide? I have been to both. Yes, if you're ever in the Boston area, I haven't been to Boston in years. I would have to reacquaint myself, but I have been there, and I have been to both Harvard and I've been through the campus, and I have been to Fenway Park. But Boston is a great city. Lance Javen says, "Don't go chasing waterfalls." Good suggestion. John Inch says Venus was also a Frankie Avalon, but that was another song. Yes, a different Venus, if you will. I think I was almost caught up. Sean Innes says Dennis Quaid in Pandemonium was a nice surprise. Not familiar myself, actually. Oh, Gary Carpenter says, "Life, my favorite '40s movie is Yankee Doodle Dandy." I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. James Cagney was a national treasure. Johnny says, "Sorry, I should have done more research on Bananarama." Lisa Field says, "You make me feel like dancing." Leo Sayre. Tug says, "Sean, I like Pandorum." Oh, I said Pandorum. Pandorum. I'm sorry, Pandorum. I'm so glad there's another human out there who's seen it. Yeah, I've not seen Pandorum. Sorry. 10cc. I'm not in love. My favorite 10cc song is actually I'm not sure the actual name. The Things We Do for Love. Like walking in the rain and the snow when there's nowhere to go and you're feeling like a party was dying. Zublik says, my favorite 1940s movie is Citizen Kane. That's a great one. Cindy says, going to dance the night away, Lisa. Let's just see. Tug says Casablanca, of course. That's probably my favorite movie of all time. Maybe Dr. Zhivago beats it out, but I love Casablanca. Lynch Javen says Dreamweaver by Gary Wright, yes. Afternoon Delight. My boss when he was a kid was working in a club that Starland Vocal Band was playing at, and they threw him out of a closed audition. He had to go home. He couldn't finish his shift. True story. They were complete total snot rags. Real prima donnas. Gary Cameron says, always wanted to see Beantown. It's a nice city. And Melissa says, I liked all the Abbott Costello movies and Topper Returns from the 40s. Good choices. Zublik says Leo Sayre had more than one hit. Yes, but at least I knew what song she was talking about. Tug says, you guys are making a jukebox play in my head. Let the music play so he won't get away. Um, Johnny says Starling Vocal Band had its own variety show in the 70s. A lot of groups didn't then. Yes, as we discussed, you know what killed the fact that every music group was getting its own uh, musical variety show? Pink Ladies and Jeff. That was the last straw. Studios wouldn't back musical variety shows after that. And it was on their own darn fault. You know who was on that Starling Vocal Band, the band TV show? A very, very, very young Dave. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Late Night Talk Show host. David Letterman. David Letterman. I knew I'd get it. Yeah, he was on that show. Lisa Field said she loved Leo Sayer. Corey's Comedy Channel says, Thrash, do you remember that group Honeymoon Salute? They sang a song called I Got a New Girl Now. I don't know that song. Lance Chafin says, the Pina Colada song. As a kid who grew up on Cape Cod, you know how I knew the Pina Colada song? Because whenever that song played on the radio, everyone freaked out when that line about Cape Cod came on. And you know, I actually talk about Rupert Holmes in one of my creepy classics. You know what? I'm never going to bother to self plug. Go into my content page and check out my creepy classic on Rupert Holmes. But anyway, yes, I do recall the Pina Colada song and very unsanitary things done on Cape Cod beaches. John Burton says, I'm not in love, so let's forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through. Just because I call you up, don't go thinking that you've got it made. So I'm not in love. So yes, that song is so far to my range is pathetic. Let's just see what we got here. Danny Zane says, I'll jump off the page. We will never turn the page. Oh, come on. I can't be that far behind. Or am I? Oh, here he is. If you find yourself in Boston, be sure to stop by Cheers. It's actually called the Bullfinch Pub. Teb says even though he was known for being Christian singer-songwriter, Michael W. Smith had a huge crossover hit on the Billboard Hot 100 charts in 1991 with Place in This World. Not familiar with that song. Take your word for it. Cindy D says, me too, Lisa. My mom loved that song too. We're still talking about Leo Sayer, I believe. Where everybody knows your name. Gary, Emily Miller says, Gary Tug, I had to buy the Topper movies on DVD. John Burton says it lasted 6 episodes and was David Letterman's start. Yes, the Starling Vocal Band show. Steve says, New Night Court must be on. My Harry Anderson video is being seen 700 times an hour right now. I've got to learn to like hop on these like social trends. Tug says, leader of the band by Dan Fogelberg gives me the feels. It really is a very touching song. It reminded me of my grandfather when I was a kid who had died right around that time. Tug says, that's awesome life. The algorithm is blessing you. Johnny says, I actually watched Pink Lady. You can blame the disaster on Fred Silverman when he was the NBC president. Actually, you know what really, really sunk it? I was actually doing some research. I can't for the life remember why, but when they asked the managers for Pink Lady, who were this mega girl group in Japan, they'd actually even had a couple of quasi hits here in the States. Do they speak English? Because they had this crazy idea what they want to do. They were going to try to recapture the charm of Sukiyaki and the biggest Japanese hit on an American radio. They were going to make them into big radio stars, but also have this self-promoting TV show. And they said, do the girls speak English? And the manager said, not really. They kind of downplayed it. They kind of said the leaders down. And so they thought, not really, like, well, it's sort of like Charo, where she speaks it but doesn't really grasp the language. That could actually be cute. There'll be all kinds of humorous mistranslations between them and Jeff. It'll be fun. And then when they started filming They realized that when they said not really, these girls did not speak a word of English. They had to learn their lines phonetically. We are Pink Lady from Japan. Like literally, they didn't even know what they were saying. They were just spitting it back, like I did when I learned Frere Jacques when I was in kindergarten. So there was no inflection or anything like that. So all the charm these young ladies had were completely lost. Jeff tried to carry it, he couldn't, and it was a disaster. And I don't think it was really anybody's fault. I think the managers were hoping for the best. They thought maybe if they crammed enough English before they started filming, they could like play it off. But it just didn't work. But the whole concept of the musical variety show was really crumbling by this point anyway. I mean, it was a gimmick, and when a gimmick wears off, you got nothing. It's like having some guy look at a screen, talking to it, and reading questions and answers. Ah! Anyway, so let's see. I was really on the soapbox there, so I'm probably way. Oh, here we are, way behind. Das Gimsev is on the waterfront 1940s. I believe that's 50s. I believe that's 1950s. Fred Gwynn actually has a small part of that. He plays one of the gangsters' henchmen. Very, very young at the time, too. Emily says Lucille Ball had some good movies in the 1940s, too. Didn't she get her first start in a Three Stooges short? Three Little Pigskins or something? Oh, John Burton says Sterling Vocal Band also wrote Country Roads for John Denver. I did not know that. I did not know that. Okay. Oh, yes. Tug says no, 1950s. Thank you. Wow, I'm way behind. I'm gonna have to catch up here. John, it says Larry Hagman appeared on Pink Lady without being paid so he could work with Sid Caesar. I did not know that. Cindy D says loved her films. Emily Lucy was it good in them? Yes, she certainly was. Tom says Rupert Holmes. Yes. Lance Javen says Thomas Dolby. She blinded me with science. Love that song. Gary Garber says she wasn't a Three Stooges short. John H says he was supposed to get his own deal on NBC, but post Silverman he didn't get it. I think I mean Jeff. John Collins says I have a question about "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls." When TLC used this refrain, are they actually referring to not go chasing sexual conquests? Not sure. Never quite understood that song. It was a big hit, and ladies in my house loved it, but I am actually not sure. Gary Carpenter says Louie Louie, one of my favorite songs of all time, and is not a filthy song. There was all kinds of urban legends that it actually had these filthy lyrics, and that's why the guys mumbled when they recorded it. The audio microphone was in the ceiling, so the guy had to actually yell at it to get it to record. So the audio track was sort of lost under the musical tracks. And people just sort of made up their own words, but no, it's not a filthy song at all. It was actually originally like a conga song. Me fine little girl, she wait for me. Me sail a ship across the sea. But anyway, Johnny says, Thresh, do you have to pay royalties when you sing? God, I hope not. More punitive damages. John Burnton says the Pina Colada song is called Escape. Yes, it is, but everyone knows it is the Pina Colada song. Edmund Miller says Lucy was everywhere in the 1940s. She just never made it past B Girl. Scott says, dang, that is one of my faves. Gary Gabber says, am the Fuller Brush Girl. Lance Javen says, do it again, Steely Dan. Love Steely Dan. Hey 19 is probably my favorite song. Not 19, Hey 19. Steve says Lucille Ball was very good looking back in the 40s. She certainly was. Wasn't she blonde, too? Lucy Field says, my favorite Lucy movie is Yours, Mine, and Ours. I love that movie with Henry Fonda, right? I love that movie. Tom says Lucy was in Three Little Pigskins on the Three Stooges. Yes, thank you. Oh, Cindy says David Letterman was in Mork and Mindy early on, too. I did not know that. I believe it. I didn't know that. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, here we are. Emily Miller says, John, in my opinion, it was basically don't go looking for the greener grass. Okay. All right. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Tug says, pretty sure it's about drugs and HIV, John. I like that actually better. Gary Carter says, Captain and that's all, folks. Captain and Tennille. John Burton says, Dan Fogelberg song, All Lang Syne is a true story. I did not know that. Bobby Renee says, my favorite movie my favorite movie has us in it. Oh, so Didi says, A Taste of Honey. Yeah, they did the American version of Sukiyaki. The American one, the Japanese one. Oh, why can't I think of that guy's name now? And it was Ueyo Muite Arakono. Very, very tragic story. He died in 1985. He was on a plane and it was starting to crash, and he actually pulled out a notepad and jotted down goodbye to his wife before he died. It was a very, very sad story. So Blick says Lucy did a movie called Best Foot Forward, a musical. The best known song from that musical was Buckle Down Winsaki. I thought it was Buckle Down Win Gracie. As far as I can tell, the singer was Tommy Dix, is still alive and almost 100. I think I know the song you're talking about. My favorite Lucy movie, and I've been looking for it for years. It was one of those World War II quasi propaganda films. It's called Meet the People, and it's all about how the American people rallied to fight the Axis during the war. And she plays a. I saw Peaches and Cream once. They also did a version of Sukiyaki. Um, she plays a Hollywood celebrity who actually gets a job doing war work and puts a career on hold because of the importance of the conflict. But I haven't seen that in years. Emily Miller says, I saw Janet Jackson for free, won as the 12th caller, even though I was 13. Oh, number 13, sorry. The call dropped on number 12 as I was talking to the radio DJ. Ooh, victory from the jaws of defeat. John H., thank you. Kayu Sakamoto. Thank you. That was killing me. All I could think of is Yuriko Sakamura. Yuriko Sakamura, who was in Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and Empire of the Sun. He's a Japanese actor and classical music composer. But Kayu Sakamoto was the Japanese musician that did Sukiyaki here in the United States. Well, he made it the first hit. To this day, I believe it's the biggest Japanese hit in the U.S. Oh, Emily, she went blonde for years, but wasn't until she went red that she started getting noticed. Gotcha. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to skip forward. I think I got booted up. So I'm gonna pick up what Steve said. If I miss any of your comments, you know what Dave says. Comment them again. If I miss them, I'll try to pick them up. But anyway, I'll pick up with Steve's comment here. It says, I like Captain and Chenille, the Captain and Tennille, not so much. Lance Giffen says, REO, Keep On Loving You. That was a good one. Suplex says, Winsaki was the name of the college. I thought it was Win Gracie, Buckle Down Win Gracie. But I haven't heard the song in years. Gary Campbell says, Love at First Bite. Georgia says, John Denver had a friend who lived in Sedona, Arizona, and said grandma's feather bed about his friend's grandmother's bed. Cool. I did not know that. John Bernstein says, I also do one for Take It to the Limit by the Eagles, but it's about a Visa card. Take It to the Limit one more time. My wife would get that one. Cindy D says, Sherilyn, Lisa Fields, good song. So was Encore. Lance Javen says, Night Ranger, Sister Christian. Tug says, Jimmy Neutron, are you talking about the movie Disorganized Crime? Steve says, message retracted to you too. Zuplex says, I know says Zuplex, Tommy Dix is 99, so you were close. Tug says, Lance, Morton, what's your price for flight? Oh, Motorin, what's your price for flight? Ah, yes, Sister Christian, Motorin, what's your price? You got, I'm with you, I'm with you. I thought it was Morton, Downey Jr. Lisa Field says, Cindy D, yes, love that song, and to be real, to be real. Daryl Jones says, Todd Rundgren, bang the drum all day. Danny Staten has given us another link for Life Inside Ending. Thank you so much. Ellen Scriven says, I can't drive 55. Sammy Hagar. Love Sammy Hagar. I even like Hagar when he was with Van Halen. I know opinion is divided, and I'm in the minority, but I like 5150 is a great album. I'm sorry I said it. I'm not sorry I said it, just that I'm sorry, and I have said it. Steve, thanks, Denny, for the link. Charlie Eugene Bellinger says, which spin-off of the Golden Girls did you like the most? Empty Nest, Golden Palace, Nurses. Spun off from Empty Nest. I watched some Empty Nest. I wasn't really a fan of any of the spin-offs, but put your own answer in the comments below. Gary Cameron says, I've seen Kiss 3 times. John Burnson says, I've driven Cher and Elton John. Ooh. At the same time, that'd be a cute trick. Kevin Scott Smith is with us. Kevin. Silent Running is an underrated sci-fi movie. I love Silent Running. I even love the short story it's based on. It's even better. But Silent Running is a great one. So if you're looking for another sci-fi classic, go with that one. Danny Staten has given us another link to The Unapologetic Geek. Tug says, what Guns N' Roses song is about Axl Rose's dog? Welcome to the Jungle. A lot of people saying Empty Nest. Emily says, and it is Winsaki. Okay. Buckle down, Winsaki it is. I apologize. I defer. Lance Given says, Lonesome Loser. John Collins says, I have a question about Three Stooges. Do they ever do a serious movie within the persona of the Three Stooges? I mean, they had to be against the Nazis, being that they were of Jewish ancestry. They do a lot of shorts which mock the Germans. And they do touch upon some serious, I guess you'd say, issues of the Depression and whatnot. But no, all their shorts were considered lighthearted comic shorts. They never did anything that were considered dramedies. Tug says, stop apologizing for what you love, Thrash. I'm sorry. Elizabeth says, Thrash, I agree about 5150. Tom says, Three Stooges were of Lithuanian ancestry. Dennis Kane says, I don't know about all the Stooges, but I've seen Larry Fine in old movies not being a goof. That I believe. Tug says, nope, not Welcome to the Jungle. Okay. Sweet Child of Mine. Scott says, Tug, Rocket Queen. Steve says, I think Dave was tired last night in his live stream. No wonder he had over 400 people watching and commenting. Well, I have almost 30, so I'm doing good too. Lance Jamin says, come to Papa Cigar. Isn't it Have a Cigar? Lance Chafin. Oh, I already read that one. Lisa says, Lance, yes, and I'll be all right without you. Lance Chafin says, Lisa, what did I do? Are you guys doing a bit? Tug says, no, Scott, wrong again, though the backstory to Queen Rocket Queen is really something not safe for here, though. I'm going to Google it after the show. Let's see. Cindy D says separate ways, worlds apart. Zublik says Lisa was referring to a song. I think he knew that. Oh, and Teddy Staten has given us another link to our fearless leader. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan, for giving us a link too, Dave. Tug says I used to love her, but I had to kill her. He killed his own dog. That's harsh. Kevin Scott Smith says 5150 is crazy. I get it. 5150 is the, I believe it's the police slang for lunatic on the loose. Tom says Shemp was in an Abbott and Costello movie. He was in a couple. He was in Africa Screams, and wasn't he in Jack and the Beanstalk? I know he was in Africa Screams, but I think he did at least one other one with Joe Derrida too. By the way, I'm sorry, Joe Besser. Joe Besser, who also later became a stooge. Joe Besser. Scott says, Tug, I know that's why I said Rocket Queen is about a dog wink. Oh, I'm going to Google that later on. Tug says, oh, Scott, now I get it. Steve says, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube celebrity feud with Thrash drama. That could be fun. There's no such thing as bad publicity. This is a true story. Back when Rocky and Bullwinkle were new, they did one of the jokes they had, this recurring thing about who the Kexter Derby, whoever had the Kexter Derby would rule the world. And of course, it's a play on the Dexter Kirby, who was a news commentator back in the day. And he didn't think it was very funny. They were mocking his name. So he had his people call up and threaten to sue Rocky and Bullwinkle. And people, Rocky and Bullwinkle said, please, we need the publicity. So you know what? Sounds fun. Tab says, which reboot of defining 90s sitcom do you really like the most? Girls Meets World, Fuller House, The Corners, or that 90s show? I didn't really care for those shows, actually, so I'm going to have to recuse myself, but feel free to give your answers in the comments below. Gary Carver says, Kitty Carlisle was in a Marx Brothers movie. I knew that. I had heard that somewhere. I forget which one, but I had heard that. Zublik says, yes, life, let's start the drama. Save the drama for your llama. Cindy D says, another good one, Lance. Lance Javen says, Cindy, Lovin', Touch and Squeezin'. Rapture, Blondie. John H says, I refuse to watch The Corners since Roseanne was killed off. The Connors, not The Corners. The Connors since Roseanne was killed off. Steve says, Durwood Kirby. Yes, and in the show, it was the Kerwood Derby. And whoever wore this derby, the Kerwood Derby, would rule the world. And, but yeah, Durwood Kirby wasn't amused by this at all. At least that's the story that I heard. John Collins says, hey, Bub, your sense of humor is kind of like Harvey Firestone. It's intelligent and quippy. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I try. Edmund Lewis says, I've been watching... I've been waiting. I'll come in one more time. I've been wanting to watch that 90s show. Me too. Gary Carmona says, Heart of Glass. Good one. I saw Blondie years ago. Amazing performer. Lisa Field says, 11 set ending. You both will get more subs to see the drama. Can't hurt. Or could it? Lance Jeffens says, the tide is high. Sean Ennis says, tear you apart by She Wants Revenge, maybe somewhat recent count among the retro one-hit wonders. It's been 17 years anyway. It popped into my muzzy, sleepy brain. There's no wrong answers. Lance Jeffens says, Betty Davis Eyes. Did I tell you my favorite piece of trivia about Betty Davis Eyes? It was written by Jackie Del Shannon, who had a few other hits, mostly wrote songs for other people as well. But she was in a movie called Let's Live a Little with Bobby V, the guy who did Oh, the Night Has 1,000 Eyes. Yeah, him. And anyway, a very, very young Kim Carnes has a small part in this movie. Well, anyway, Jackie Del Shannon writes a few years later, Betty Davis Eyes, has a modest hit with it in the 70s, but then lets Kim Carnes do another version of it, and it becomes one of the biggest one-hit wonders of the 80s. And that's my little piece of trivia. Danny Skaten says, I made a short with Ian C. doing that awkward dance. with Do You Wanna Hurt Me by Culture Club playing in the background. Stay tuned. Oh, I can't wait. Harden My Heart by Quarter Flash. I love Quarter Flash. I think I have one of their 8-track tape, not 8-track, cassette tapes in my collection. John Burton says 5150 is the 3-day mental hold. 5250 is a 30-day confinement. 5350 is a 90-day confinement. I did not know that. In the year 5150, Emily says Take My Breath Away is my fave, is a fave of mine for a reason. My wife loves that song. Les Javen says I Don't Like Mondays by the Boomtown Rats. You know what that song's about? It's about a girl who goes on top of her school and has a shooting spree. Crazy, huh? Ooh. And supposedly when they actually caught her and they asked her why she did it, she goes, "I don't like Mondays." Johnny says Jackie DeShannon saying "What the World Needs Now." Night Has a Thousand Eyes is my fave Bobby V song. It is a great song. Gary Carpenter says California Dreamin'. Sean Innes says, I hate Betty Davis Eyes and Total Eclipse of the Heart. I associate them with the people together with, and people keeps jumping on conveying them every few years. It's horrible, LOL. Sorry. Let's just see. Lisa, Emily Miller says, Lisa, is it just the kids mostly? Johnny says, Bobby V had #1 hit with Take Good Care of My Baby, which was another hit 20 years later, almost 20 years later, for Sean Cassidy. Let's just see. Les Chafin says, Love is a battlefield. Love, I absolutely love Pat Benatar. And let's just see. And we just jumped again. Oh, here it is. Dennis Dayton says, even now as we speak, the worms are eating Betty Davis' eyes. Ooh, too soon. Too soon. Liz Field says, Human by Human League is one of my favorites. I still play it often. Yeah. Well, you know, I tell you what, a lot of people are giving their Scott says someone has to do the Buffalo Bill dance to Karma Chameleon. That image will haunt me. I gotta tell you, that image will haunt me. Tom says Jackie Dilson sang Gilligan's Island in. Hold on. Jackie Dilshannon sang on Gilligan's Island instead of Don Wells when Don Wells had to sing. That is like super cool. That actually is ringing a bell. I think that was on a Dave post. Maybe did you tell him that? But either way, that's an incredibly cool fact. Johnny says Sean Cassidy had his only #1 hit with a cover of the Do Run Run. He ended up creating a TV series called American Gothic. Oh, and Danny Staten says one of my favorite, One Night in Bangkok and She Blinded Me with Science. Both great songs. Cindy Lee says Wham Rap by Wham from 16 Candles. Bobby Renee says my turn to say yogurt. It was bound to happen sooner or later. And on that, we're getting towards the half-hour mark. Well, 9:30 mark. We're rapidly approaching the 1.5 hours is what I'm trying to say. So I think we can start wrapping things up at this point. I want to say thank you folks all for joining me tonight. I had a lot of fun with this one. Now again, movies are my specialty and I love TV shows, but it's fun to do music every now and then. So I really had fun with those music questions. And oh no, Retro Nerd Girl just joined us. Oh, and Music Girl 67. She says hello there. Good evening to Thrash and everyone. Happy last day of January 2023. I'm always so happy to make it before the live chat ends to support Thrash. Thank you so much, Music Girl. And Retro Nerd Girl says, I just got home from work. Hi, Thrash Pondo, and hello all. So glad you guys could make it. Unfortunately, we are literally starting to wrap things up now. I'll be on for a few more minutes because it always takes me at least 10 minutes to say goodbye to everybody. So glad you guys could make it. But and I want to thank all you folks who've been here. I hope you guys all had fun with the trivia questions. Oh, those of you who are just making it now, feel free to play the trivia game in replay mode. I'll come up with some more next time. I am going to do another live chat on Thursday. Haven't quite decided what the theme for that one is, but I'm sure it'll be something fun. Lance, I want to thank you for sticking out. Lance wasn't feeling well tonight, but he managed to stay through the entire show, and we didn't get a single bot. So your vigilance can't be underestimated or understated or under something or other. But anyway, I had so much fun tonight, guys. I want to thank you guys for joining us. And I want to thank you for your input. You guys are always so great. So great in the input section. And oh, also, while we have a second, as I'm sure all of you already know, but Dave Sundstrom has another live chat tomorrow. It's going to be 8:30 my time, Eastern Standard Time. So do the math for your own regions. But I'm hoping that we could all show up and show our support. And then I will be again doing another show on Thursday. And while you're here, Danny, could you do a link to Retro Nerd Girl? But um, Retro Nerd Girl, what do you have something planned for this weekend? It's the Last Starfighter, and that's this Saturday, I believe, where she does a watch along, which are a lot of fun. I'm gonna try to make it myself. Actually, I don't know if I can this weekend, but I'm certainly gonna try to. And oh yeah, a little parched. Give me a sec. And Dave, of course, is putting together his posse. That's myself, Barry, and Pat. And we're going to be doing a symposium on old classic Filmation cartoons. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And remember, in this coming month, I'm going to be on, and I am so pumped for this. I'm going to be doing a live radio broadcast. I'm going to be on BK on the air. And I am like over the moon for that. I cannot wait. I absolutely cannot wait. And I'm sure most of you folks will see it on the podcast, but I don't know if I've done live radio since I was in college. Does it still work? Anyway, enough pontificating. One more thing while I got you. I am going to be putting together, a couple people have asked me about, with all the comic books unboxings I've been getting, if I'm going to be doing more comic spotlights. I have a couple of those in the works, and at least one more movie spotlight retrospect. I'm not going to do Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Ballerama. It was too horrible. I saw it. It was it was something. It was so poor. Like, you ever watch a bad movie? You're like, this is a bad movie, but it's fun. This was a bad movie that wasn't particularly fun. It was just bad. I used to watch stuff like that when I used to watch USA Up All Night, but I think we had certain chemicals which made things funnier and more amusing to us. But I digress. Anyway, oh, one thing I wanted to point out. Music Girl 67 said, darn, I want to share some of my favorite 40s films and one-hit wonders. Forgotten 40s? I'm sorry, it was 45s. Forgotten 40s meaning like single songs, one-hit wonders, that type of thing. The game I had tonight was music trivia. We were talking about 40s films, and you know what? That's what we're going to do Thursday. The show Thursday is going to be everything 40s. 40s films, 40s music. There wasn't much in the way of 40s TV, but you know what we could do? As I'm a huge war film buff, we could talk about movies set during the 40s. Battle of the Bulge, Battle for Britain, Bridge Too Far, Bridget Remagen. So we'll start with films of the 40s and music of the 40s, and the whole thing may just evolve into a round robin discussion of World War II buffs. We'll see where it takes us. In any event, I have rambled long enough. Again, thank you guys for coming by tonight. I couldn't do the show without you. Be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.